Yo, welcome to the Table Talk podcast, where we sit down, pull up a chair, and we get started. This podcast is designed to provide you packed full of information to help you with your training, nutrition, lifestyle, and well-being, where we interview myself through case studies to give you lifetime experience. And then we also interview high-performing individuals or other career-focused people who are looking to make changes in their lifestyle, training, nutrition, and well-being. So let's pull up that chair and let's go. So for those that are interested in Tom Merriman, he is a merry man, but we're now into our next episode to understand more about him personally. No, ladies and gentlemen, pants will stay on. But Carl, so we're really wanting to understand, because from someone who's gone from fully booked out PT to then making a decision to go, you know what, I want to help, as he says, try, but I believe he's going to transform the industry over time with obviously other great like-minded people, as he's mentioned, the Lions, the Declans, the Justins. What is the routine for someone like that? So I guess before we kick into the routine, how do you stay up to date? So you're a contractor. You do some PT on the side still?
I don't actually PT at this moment in time, no.
Ooh, full step away. So now how are we staying up to date? So we're going full intelligence, intellectual coaching here. How are we staying up to date or relevant so we are providing that cutting edge?
That's a great question. A lot of reading is probably the answer.
My kryptonite. Great.
Yeah. Yeah, people, I mean, I don't, ironically, I don't listen to podcasts. But I might listen to this one.
This will be your favorite podcast.
The only one in my library.
I love that. I don't do podcasting. Oh, great. Puppy cherry.
I recognize that it's not like podcasting is an efficient way to get information. Reading, on the other hand, is not an efficient way. I love having a book in my hand.
Mm.
I'm a sucker for holding a book. So I do, reading is probably my biggest source of inspiration. And then I'll always be invested in at least one course or program at any given time that allows me to upskill myself and continually provide a better service to those that I'm helping. So I'll always be looking to, I think it's always important to be investing in that. And sometimes I'll try and sharpen strengths. Sometimes I'll try and improve on some weaknesses. And I'll kind of like map out what my education journey over 12 months would look like. And I try and theme each quarter, where I'll go, okay, Q1 is this theme, and Q2 is this theme, Q3 is this theme. So that I'm not overwhelmed with how much information I feel like I have to learn, that I'm trying to learn everything at once. And then I just get, as we kind of spoke about earlier, that analysis, paralysis by analysis. Whereas if I kind of map out what my themes are over every quarter, I at least know that I'm going to get to the things that I want to learn at some point in the year.
Interesting. What's the theme for this quarter?
My theme for probably the last 3 or 4 quarters is, listening to them. No, I've spent the last couple of years really diving into learning design, and understanding how people learn, and then using that to understand how to teach. Because I think education, when I first started teaching, I was just delivering information. It was just me kind of standing there talking at people. And I began to recognize that, well, that's not education, because that's not conducive. Learning isn't just, or delivering education isn't about the information you deliver. It's about the information that's retained and the information that's actually applied. And I think a lot of people, when they come to delivering and designing workshops or designing courses and things like that, it's people with great knowledge. They've got great information, but they don't know how to deliver it in a meaningful way. They don't know how to help the students or the learners connect and create meaning in the content. It doesn't allow them to give them opportunities to actively engage with it. It doesn't allow connection between students and allow for shared experiences. It doesn't facilitate practice in controlled and uncontrolled environments. And all of those things are really the most important things that lead to better understanding, better retention, and better application. So I've went down very much in this kind of like learning design, getting an understanding of how you can design and deliver effective training that helps people get the most out of it.
Mm. So it's not always just about it's not about doing more. It's about you're learning how to design something that's like one. So like, there are heaps of people, it's like, it's all about quantity. But you're like, I want the quality where it's like 1 or 2 videos that encapsulates all of that
Yeah, so
maximizes the retention in the individual. Yeah, cool.
the general rule within kind of the learning field is it's 30% of what you say and 70% of how you say it. So you need to, if you're delivering information, you've got to have an understanding of, yeah, what's the key message that you're trying to deliver? But then how can you deliver that in a way that connects with multiple people? Because people are going to resonate with different things in different ways. So then how can you use metaphors as to help create understanding? How can you use models? So for the more creative people, they might respond better to a metaphor, whereas the more analytical people might respond to seeing a model. And then how can you give it meaning through stories, through examples, through data, through research, like through statistics? And all of them contribute to the overarching delivery of the content. But then that's also just one part of educating. So for me, there's kind of another 5 levels to it where, yes, you need to be delivering the information in the right way, but it needs to promote action. There needs to be feedback loops. It needs to promote connection, and there needs to be some sort of reward system in place. And if you can use that, then you're creating a learning experience for people that people want to show up for, that people want to engage with, that people enjoy, and all of that leads to a better outcome.
Interesting. So it's quite funny because you're learning how to do this to then teach someone the exact same thing.
More or less, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, that's awesome. That's because obviously that creates a loop. And then you're obviously then someone's designed something that you're learning, which is what you're working on. And they've kind of appealed it to, if you like all these business owners and you're like, great, now I need to encapsulate this to apply it to specific health and fitness. Amazing.
Yeah,
And incorporate planets.
yeah, and talk about planets. Because when I ended up in education, I was quick to realize that I didn't know how to educate. I was like, I need to learn how to educate, and that kind of led to where we are.
Yeah, wow. And yeah, you're doing it full time.
Yeah.
So because a lot of people, like for example, anyone that's listening to this, we all have careers, we have ambitions, we have goals, we have drives. But usually what happens is I'm too busy. I've so much on because, we go, let's do this for 90 minutes. 2 hours later, we're still talking. So time does get lost when you fall in love with a passion or you talk about things you enjoy. And I guess for one, it would be, how do you balance that? Because obviously you have been a trainer. So, the 4, the 3 or 5 times a week, eating your 3 or 4 meals a day, calorie deficit, calorie surplus. Like, how do you manage? Because you know a lot of it now. So a lot of people who are career focused don't know a lot of this. They have access to it, but they don't access it. So that's where we come in. But how do you stay or maintain that work-life balance? Or probably, knowing you might say work-life integration, how they integrate synergistically together. Wordsmith, you are.
I'm not going to say either of them. I think. Do you know what? Until I met my partner Kate, I didn't.
Her name is what? Sorry,
Katie.
Katie. Okay, I was going to say
Yeah.
Kate.
No. So I think I put before I met her, and that was 4 years ago now, I was very tunnel visioned, and it was just like I put all my stock in career. And nowadays I'm much better at switching off and much better at taking my mind off work. There's a few things that I find that has helped. Like, first of all, I always, when it came to PTing and things like that, I always had like, and I still do now, I always have my non-negotiables. Like, my non-negotiables were the things that I will always do in my week, right? So if it was booking clients in, I would always block out my training first, or if I needed Wednesday off to play sport, or if I wanted Sunday off, I would always block them out first and block out my non-negotiables, and then build my clients around what was left. And that kind of works really well. But these days, I think having a really clear plan for me helps me a lot. So I'd live my life by 90-minute blocks. Right. So do you know Pomodoro? Have you heard of the Pomodoro technique?
Uh, maybe like Ed Milet uses 6 hour blocks or 4 hour blocks. So I haven't heard
So
the
it goes,
Pomodoro.
it's basically it's a productivity thing. It's basically work for 25 minutes, rest for 5. And you do that 3 times, and then you have a longer break. So if you see my calendar, it's basically like block 1, break, block 2, break, block 3, break, and it's all 90 minutes. And I always set them out, and I plan what I'm going to do in that day within those blocks. And what that allows me to do is it just gives me a clear finish time. And by the end of the day, I know when my finish time is. And as long as I stick to it, I know that I've achieved the outcomes that I've wanted within that day, which then allows me to switch off. It almost like gives me permission to switch off, as opposed to if I just left things open ended, then I'd always find myself like just making excuses to continue working. Oh, but I've got to finish this. I've got to finish this. And so having that time block within my calendar on a daily and weekly basis means that I know that I'm going to get the work that I need to get done in the time frame that I've allowed myself.
So clear intentions, short periods, mini breaks,
Yeah.
reset, reevaluate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I don't have notifications on my phone. I don't have
Oh,
apps like
love it. Love
yeah, I
it.
don't have apps like email. I don't have social media on my phone. If you were to, I don't know if you can see my background here. It's just black. It's just a completely
Katie, if
black
you're
background.
listening to this podcast, yes, we are disappointed that your photo does not have a picture of you. I love it. Mine just goes black too. Yeah, that's a picture of my banner.
I
Super excited. But yes, Katie, we shall be on his case to improve the screensaver of Tom Merriman's phone.
we don't need to do that. I see her every day. I know what she looks like.
Yeah, it's a moment of inspiration, motivation, which leads us to our next question to ask you is how do you stay motivated?
What a transition.
Look at that. Seamless. Pivotal, even.
Seamless.
Pivotal. Mate, I'm
Go
going to
on.
use that. I like that word. Pivotal. It's
It
good.
is a good word.
Yeah.
It is a great word. How do I stay motivated? I mean, sometimes I don't. Sometimes, like I mean, there are days where I feel so flat. There's days where I just lie on the couch all day and watch Netflix.
You know why that is, right? Because you don't have a picture of Katie on your phone. Screensaver.
There, let's sort that out right now, shall we?
Oh my god. Yeah, but in seriousness though, so you do have days where you're like, oh,
Oh, mate,
Netflix and chill.
yeah. There's days that I just don't, and sometimes they last more than a day. Sometimes I'll go like there'll be a few days. There's actually what something was really interesting actually bringing Katie up again. So she's studying a master's of coaching psychology. And a few weeks ago, she had to do her uni assignment, and it was on peak performance. right? So how do you perform at your peak? And for whatever reason, she chose me as the case study. I think because it
She's
was
human.
convenient.
We won't hold it against her. Yep.
It was convenient, and she had access to me, which is obviously going to be the most easy way to get an assignment done quickly and effectively.
Yeah.
So she did a few coaching sessions with me, and one thing we identified was the periods that I'd been most unsatisfied, or the periods that I'd been most kind of demotivated, was when I was feeling disconnected from having a purpose.
Mm.
So if I had lost sight, so when it felt like my work or what I was doing wasn't contributing to something bigger, then that's the time where I would typically be at my lowest in terms of my motivation. So I'm most motivated when I'm kind of clear on why I'm doing something and I'm clear on the impact that it's going to have. So I kind of I need to connect back to that bigger picture when I'm in those periods, because that's the thing that kind of gets me excited and gets me going and gives me the focus that I need to actually turn lying horizontal on the couch to sitting up vertical at my laptop.
You just get
But
attached to the roof.
yeah, but I find like the one strategy that I then do to try and kind of help with that is just write down all the reasons I'm doing something. So if I can write down all the reasons why I'm doing something, and I can write down all the reasons that I can think of that are related to the impact that it has, then that kind of helps me create a little bit of momentum that allows me to refocus.
Yeah. Wow. That's really cool that she's also studying that, and you've
That's mad.
touched on that. Like, what
Mate,
if?
we had these sessions. We had like I call them coaching sessions. We were just like sitting in the house, but she ended up like coaching me, and the amount of realizations that I had, I was just like, oh, I couldn't believe it. I was like
Mm,
connecting all these dots that I hadn't connected before. My mind is blown.
amazing. Psychology affects physiology. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um. Well, let's now talk about physiology. So the psychology. What does Tom currently do for training?
We skip this question. We don't need to talk about this, right?
I pick things up. I put them down. I will not disclose the weights or loads or reps done, but I do pick things up. I put them down.
Not as much as I would like to at this point. Look, my training isn't recently. My training hasn't been where I want it to be. I
Yeah.
think
Okay.
there's definitely room for improvement, is what I would say. It currently includes 3 sessions at the gym and a run. If you'd asked me the same question 2 weeks ago, I would have told you it included no sessions at the gym and 0 runs. Um, but such is life; you can't win them all.
Yeah.
But I'm getting back into my training.
Yeah.
Um,
What was the non-negotiable then? So 2 weeks ago, you weren't doing anything. Um, like a saying I used to hear is like the only reason you can't train is because you stop breathing.
and it's absolutely right.
Yeah. But
I don't, I
but
don't,
obviously,
I don't disagree with that.
but you obviously did something. As you said, you're a man who has non-negotiables. So obviously, maybe sleep or time with Katie is of a higher value, right? So through your routine, you're getting stuff done, and you're like, ooh, do I skip the date night or do I just move the training? All right, I'm not skipping date night. What are the probably the top three non-negotiables for you then that would tend to lead to training not and the running not occurring?
Sleep's definitely one.
Yep.
So I'm in bed by 8 and up at 4, and I um won't let that go for anything. Um, After the evenings and spending time with Kate in the afternoons and evenings is definitely one of them. But in terms, like, I could tell you that I could tell you all these things as to why I didn't train and make excuses and just sound like clients sound like when they tell you that they couldn't train, but I just didn't feel like it.
And
I
that's
genuinely
it.
like I genuinely like I was working. I was kind of because I was in. I was focused on doing work. I was focused on building content, and that the value of that kind of increased because I had a deadline of what I wanted to complete by a certain point in time. Um, and I was in one of those periods where I was probably feeling a little bit low and didn't have the energy or didn't have the willingness to go out and train.
Another pivotal moment, you would say.
You could say that, yeah.
But
The one thing that the non-negotiable in my life is my morning. Like, is
morning
going. I go
routine.
for yeah. So I go out for a walk in the morning, and I wouldn't change that. Like, I'll if I'm feeling a bit cloudy and I need to clear my head. Some people go to train. I go for a walk. Like that for me is like the most valuable time.
Well, let's talk about. So we got priority 1 and priority 3, like so the walk. I like the walk. So what's the morning routine? Just get up, shoes on, walk, or what are you doing
Nah,
first thing in the
well
morning?
then you're walking in the dark, aren't you? Not got time for that.
It's daft.
Um, that is that. I'll I'll get up at 4 and I'll do from 4:30 I'll do like my journaling and daily prep. So I use it's called the I think it's called the Best Self Journal. Got a little gratitude bit, it's got a planner bit, it's got a bit to kind of open space to write down your thoughts. I kind of do that. So I'll do the journal and then I'll check my emails and respond to emails and clear all that up. That tends to be between 4:30 and around 5. Then from 5 till 6:30, I'll do a 90-minute block of deep work. So I'm most creative and most productive first thing in the morning. I know that they're kind of like my golden hours. So I do a 90-minute block of work within that period of time that is undisturbed. And I usually get quite a lot done there. And then I'll go for the walk after that. So you're talking at about 6:30, and then I'll go and I'll walk till maybe about 8 o'clock, get a coffee. I normally walk down to Double Bay and just sit by the water with a coffee and then
Mm.
walk back. So I kind of do that, and that's good for me because by the time I've gone onto my walk, I already feel like I've achieved stuff with my day, having
Mm.
completed 2 hours of work before that point. And that kind of like then I just flow into my work day, which is these 90-minute blocks over the course of the day.
Yeah, wow. And so you haven't eaten anything before that 8 o'clock coffee?
Um,
Any
no, I
supplements?
have, yeah, with no within the I'll have well, I didn't used to, but I've started to have breakfast in that 4 to 4:30 period of time. I'll have muesli and Greek yogurt.
Very nice.
Yeah, so that is good. Yeah, Katie got me onto it.
Ooh, we'll have to interview Katie next.
I know. I'm just plugging away.
The first question will be, Katie, show us your phone. She'll be like, but what
That's a
about all
good
these?
do you know what? That's a great question. I don't know what her background is.
I know my partner, she's got 2 phones. I know one of her photos,
Suspect.
secret life, but she's got a work
Yeah.
phone. She separates her life personal and professional because clients will call her daily and she's like, ugh. So her work phone
Smart.
has a picture of me on it, laying in the bed with clothes, but it says, "This is why you work so hard, so you can come home to this." And people will pick up her phone and be like, "What the?"
Great.
Yeah,
Mate, that maybe that's the inspiration I need when I'm demotivated.
a
Maybe
picture of
not of
me.
you.
Sure,
Yeah, mate, yeah. I mean, yeah, send it over. We'll give it a shot.
it'll be the podcast cover, and this you'll be like, "Yep, that's why I don't do podcasts." So, but we're having muesli, which is nice. So I remember steak and nuts. It's the way to go. And now, obviously, I get up at 5, so I don't want to wake my partner, but I now just do 2 crushed wheat bix with Greek yogurt as well. Just
Yeah,
light, easy.
easy.
What about nighttime? So obviously we're bed by 8, but what's the routine to wind you down there?
I'll cook probably between 5 and 6, and I will watch an episode of something on Netflix normally
What are you watching
for an
now?
hour. Do you know what? We watched the first episode of, I think it's called Here. It's on Stan. Everyone,
So
you should watch it.
subtitles.
I know the first episode's unreal, by the way. It's from the creators of Lost, and it's called From. Called From.
So it's a
Um,
dream within a dream.
which yeah, so it's they're stuck in a loop. So they're stuck in this town, and if they try to get out, they just end up coming back into the town, so they can't escape. But then there's a creepy old woman that ended up murdering a child and a mother within the first like 2 minutes of the program. I thought that was quite an intense start, going straight for the kids. And then 2 minutes later, another kid had a table leg through its leg. So
Hey, what? A kid had a table?
a table leg skewered through its leg.
He was missing a leg and he had a table leg for a leg.
No, there was a car crash and a table leg went through his leg.
Okay.
Because they were in an RV. Sorry, I should have prefaced that.
From with the context occurs, thus from.
Yeah. Yes. Anyway,
Yeah, wow.
been watching From as of yesterday. Good program, should watch it. And then watch an episode and then get ready for bed. And I'll normally read or I'll Sudoku. I love a Sudoku.
Ooh, Sudoku. Very nice.
Yeah, I love a Sudoku. And I use there's one called a killer Sudoku. So it's not just your typical Sudoku. It's got a little pizzazz.
Yeah, I'm interested. Killer Sudoku. Can you put it down though? That's the question. Or is it I've got to finish it before I go to bed?
Yeah, normally I've got to finish it before I go to bed.
Yeah. Oh, this one. And it's got so there's different colors on it as well. So you have to match colors. Like there's like a blue square in each of them, which is
No. It should have little boxes around it that add up to a certain number.
yeah, like this one.
Oh yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what the colors are about.
So like because obviously it's got to be 1 to 9 here and 1 to 9 here. So you know that
Yeah.
if 9 is here, 9 can't be in any more of these.
Yeah, well, if you look at that top left one, the one below it would be a 6.
Yeah. Oh, he's already on it. Look at
Yeah.
him. You're probably done already. Just blinked and yep, got it.
It's just
I don't need those hints.
you don't, mate. I reckon I can
like
clear
it.
that up in a few minutes.
It's uneasy. I should hope so.
But yeah, that's I'm reading a book about Genghis Khan
Look at
just now.
this. Expert. Like, love it. Easy. We'll do some of it for you. Expert. You get nothing.
No, that's good. No, that's fine. We got this.
I gotta blink 3 times.
So if you look at that bottom left one, right, that's 30. That says the box that says 30.
This one's easier. 1.
Yeah.
It's 7. It's a trap. 30. Yep.
Yeah, that's a 9, 8, 7, and 6. Which tells you that none of the other boxes can have a 9, 8, 7, or 6 in them.
So 9, 7, and 6.
9, 8, 7, and 6. Add an 8.
Oh, okay. Okay, I'm with you now. I was about to say, Tom, that equals does not equal 30, but yeah, sorry, I missed the tetragon there. Yep. I was gonna say that math is off. It's like, nope, that's Carl.
Been
Yeah,
doing it
mate.
wrong the whole time.
This is why I can't get them. Amazing. So we've got routines. We don't quite train all the time, but we are pretty much accustomed to the idea that it's not about the excuse. It's more about being honest with yourself that just values have changed, or the non-negotiables are the non-negotiables, and that you're not willing to settle until the tasks are done. And therefore, training doesn't occur this week, but you don't make an excuse. You just go, okay, I need to make some changes if I want to make that happen. And this is what I'm going to do. 2 weeks later, here we are. We're now training 3 times a week with a run. Amazing. With a routine that's interesting. You know, trainers are all that, the sups and the proteins. You're like, Greek yogurt, that'll do. And a coffee later. The question would be, do you drink or eat your coffee?
Who eats their coffee?
A lot of people eat their coffee.
How do you eat a coffee?
So a lot of the people that I consult with, I'm like, tell me about your day. And they'll go, oh, I start my day, I'll have a coffee. I'm like, how do you have coffee? They're like, oh, I first thing I eat in the morning is a coffee. I'm like, so you just like, oh, don't be silly, Carl. I drink it. It's like, oh, okay, well, I'm a little concerned that the first thing you eat is a coffee.
Wow, I don't get it. Why?
Because most people, the routine is that most people fast in the morning because it's the thing, but they have a disassociation in the sense of food nourishes the body. And so because they have a coffee in the morning, it nourishes the body, but it just pushes cortisol up. And so they go, coffee is food. It's like, it's not. Like, you have to drink it to get a response.
You drink coffee, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
That's
rubbish, that.
But it's because of their understanding of food. Like, most people associate food as good or bad. It's like, but food never mugged or killed anyone. Like, there are no donuts attacking people. But food provides nourishment. So it's like, does a coffee nourish you?
So does water.
Which is what you should probably be having, is water, not coffee.
You don't eat. Oh yeah, I ate my water this morning.
Yeah.
It was great.
So yeah, I get a lot of people with that one. It's fun. I'm like, oh, so you eat your coffee? Like, yeah. I'm like, okay, we're gonna start from the beginning.
That's outrageous. That actually makes me sad.
It's a pivotal point in people's lives. Oh, I love it. Pivotal. It's great. Tom, it's been a pleasure to have you. Gotten through all of these questions. We've got how to get in touch with you, which is great. We've got our lessons. We've got our questions. Have you thought of your third and final question?
I thought we did. We put it down as what, didn't we?
Yeah. Marvelous. How can I help? Why are we here?
End on a high.
Mate, it's been a pleasure. I look forward to catching up with you in the future.
Thanks for having me, mate. It was a treat. It was very pivotal. I'm going to look back at this as a pivotal moment in my life.
Yep. And we can ask Katie the real question: what's on your phone screen?
What's on her phone screen? I'll tell you. I'll report back.
At the next table talk, we'll all pull up a chair, ready for action.
Episode 700 with Tom.
And Katie, and it'll just be our missus ripping into us. He doesn't do that. No, that was my question. Adios, amigos. Hey, thanks so much for joining the episode of Table Talk today. We hope you found some helpful tips and inspiration in staying healthy and fit, even with a busy schedule. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast. Stay tuned for our next conversation. Until then, keep prioritizing yourself, your health, your fitness, and we'll see you on the next Table Talk.